Hello, it is 5 a.m. in Washington. It's 1 p.m. in Abu Dhabi. I'm Monita Rajpal. You're watching World One live from London. The future of Libya takes center stage today as Western powers and Arab states meet to weigh up what lies ahead. Officials from 24 countries are gathering right now in Abu Dhabi to draw up plans for what a democratic Libya might look like without Muammar Gaddafi. Go straight now to Abu Dhabi and join our senior international correspondent Nick Robertson with more on this international contact group meeting and what they hope to achieve from this. Nick?
Well, Monita, one of the things that seems to be quite close to the top of the agenda is financing for the rebels in Libya at the moment. I don't think anyone really expected Muammar Gaddafi to be holding on this long, at least in the international community.
Stay with us here on World One, where we'll be speaking to the UK Defence Minister, Liam Fox, who has been in a NATO meeting in Brussels. So stay with us for that. Well, lead the transition or get out of the way. That's the message from the White House to the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The U.S. is backing Britain, France, Germany and Portugal in calling for the UN Security Council to take a stand on the Syria crisis. Reports out of the country suggest more than 1,000 people have been killed since anti-government protests began 3 months ago. And the fear of further violence is driving hundreds of Syrians out of the country. More than 1,000 crossed the Turkish border in the past day. That's according to Turkey's Anatolia news agency. It does make it difficult for foreign journalists to work within the country. CNN's Ivan Watson is at Turkey's border with Syria, and we'll be speaking to him in just a moment. But first, we want to go to Lebanon, where CNN's Ara Damon is following developments from Beirut. Ara, give us a little bit more of the big picture now in terms of, we understand there is now an increasing or ratcheting up the action, the military action from the Syrian forces.
It most certainly appears to be the case, Monita, and that military action now concentrated in the northwestern part of the country.
Arwen, do bring us the latest as soon as you get it. Ara Damon there reporting to us from Beirut. Let's now go talk a little bit more about reports that the Syrian military forces are closing in on that town of Jisr al-Shugur. A student demonstrator has told CNN protesters try to stop a column of tanks moving towards the town. Let's go to Ivan Watson at the Turkish-Syrian border on the Turkish side. And Ivan, tell us a little bit more. We understand that people have been trying to form a human chain to stop these tanks from entering this town.
That's right. We've been talking to one student protester. He's from a town called Sarakib, which is about an hour's drive from Jisr al-Shugur, and he described
Ivan, not only is this a very violent situation, but it's becoming a dire humanitarian crisis now that we are seeing not only within the country of Syria, but also along the border with Turkey. Describe for us the conditions of these camps that you're seeing.
Well, right here, the conditions are quite good. I mean, these people are living in tents. Some of them have been here since late April when the first wave of several people came across the border.
Ivan Watson, thank you very much. You're watching World One live from London. An exit strategy from Afghanistan. NATO ministers weigh up the Afghans' ability to cope with the Taliban once foreign troops leave the country. 9 people were killed and 5 others injured earlier Thursday in the Afghan province of Nangarhar when armed men attacked a wedding party. The news comes as NATO defense ministers meet in Brussels to discuss their role in Afghanistan. In the coming weeks, foreign troops will hand security control in parts of Afghanistan to the National Police and the Army. Nick Payton-Walsh joins us now live from Kabul. And Nick, some would say, well, one would wonder, are the local security forces ready? And two, someone would, I guess, interpret this as job done.
I think there's definitely a fear of that. I think the political landscape really is changing very fast since the American and NATO rhetoric really became about how fast.
Normally thought of as gentle giants, but this video you're about to see shows a different side of the elephant. Animals went on the rampage in the Indian city of Mysore. One elephant took it out on a cow. He is using his tusks and his trunk to push the cow into a wall. About things getting out of control, there's a spectacular solar storm out in space. Meteorologist Jennifer Delgado is at the World Weather Center with details on that. This time, though, it's actually kind of nice to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice to look at. You know, in fact, Monita, we haven't seen something like this since 2006, an unusual solar storm. Let's go over to the video so you can really just kind of... But we still have our time to go see the aurora lights.
All right, I'll make a plan for that. Jen, thank you so much.
Good day.
Here's some of the stories we're talking about here on World One. He's been in the media spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Democratic Congressman Anthony Weiner found himself embroiled in a sexting scandal that sent shockwaves through Capitol Hill. But as calls for his resignation grow louder, Weiner has something to celebrate. The New York Times is reporting that he will be a dad. The baby will be the first child for Weiner and his wife, Huma Abedin. A close family friend refused to comment when asked about the pregnancy report. Are you always chasing that elusive goal, how to lose weight and keep it off? Well, your search may be over. The best diet, as determined by news magazine U.S. News and World Reports, is one you've probably never heard of. It's called DASH, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. Bit of a mouthful there, but on the menu, veggies, fruit, and low-fat dairy, so pretty common sense. Well, the magazine ranks the better-known Mediterranean diet as number 2, and at number 3, there's the widely advertised Weight Watchers diet. And sometimes you have to go into space to really see what's going on right here on Earth. That's what NASA's doing. It's sending up a new satellite called Aquarius. Blasting off on Friday, the satellite will help map out the links between Earth's climate and the saltiness of its oceans. The mission will also study global patterns of rainfall and ocean currents. You're watching World One, live from London. Want to get more now on our top story, the future of Libya, which is being discussed at a meeting of more than 20 countries and regional organizations. That's going on right now in Abu Dhabi. Meanwhile, back in Libya, it's been a bloody 24 hours, especially in Misrata. The city is under siege by Gaddafi's forces who've cut off all access by land. CNN's Sarah Seidner is there for us, and we can speak to her now. And Sarah, is there a sense, I guess, from what we're hearing, is that the Gaddafi forces are very much still on the offensive? What about the opposition and the rebels and how they're making any ground, if any?
Here's the situation, and we want to be very clear that the city of Misrata is safe.
Sarah Seidner in Misrata, thank you. Now to a subject that a lot of us find it difficult to talk about, slavery. It is estimated there are between 10 million to 30 million slaves worldwide. Throughout the CNN Freedom Project, we hope to raise awareness of this problem and help fight cruel practices. You don't have to be famous to make a difference. Take a look at this. Welcome back to World One. It started as a police investigation into phone hacking by a London tabloid newspaper, but now the list of possible victims is turning into a who's who of British society. The Guardian newspaper is reporting that among the people whose phones are thought to have been hacked is former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Now, he doesn't seem to be too concerned. This morning, Blair said he had not been contacted by police about any hacking, and he didn't plan on contacting them. Another name, another face that we will recognize is Catherine Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge. That's royalty, but she hasn't responded to any of this either. Another member of the royal family is her uncle by marriage, Prince Edward. He's also on the Guardian's list of hacking victims. But even if the victims are keeping stiff upper lips, police and some lawmakers are taking the hacking of royalty very seriously. CNN's Max Foster joins us now from outside Buckingham Palace with the latest on that. Max.
Yeah, Monita, this is a really big story in the UK. Again, it came up in Parliament yesterday, dragging in the Prime Minister again, dragging in senior police officers.
Max Foster there at Buckingham Palace. Thank you so much for that. Let's take you to the world of sport now, and people taking something very seriously, and that's the Stanley Cup action. NHL's biggest prize still up for grabs after some fighting spirit from this year's Stanley Cup finalists. Alex Thomas.
Fighting spirit, the name of the game, Monita, because when the Vancouver Canucks went 2-0 up in this Stanley Cup finals. Your sporting highlights for now.
Alex, thank you very much. Still to come, much more here on World One. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is World One. We are coming up at almost 6 a.m. in New York, noon in Berlin, and 7 p.m. in Tokyo. Now, in a country which has endured so much devastation, music rising from a single stage is now bringing hope, and with it, a powerful message to the people. Kyung La is with us now from CNN Tokyo to explain why this show must go on. Kyung.
Well, it's very significant for the people, especially in the audience, Monita, in spite of the fact that there has been earthquakes here, the tsunami.
They aren't the only performers who've actually visited Japan since the earthquake. Pop star Justin Bieber ended his Never Say Never tour there in May. At the time, there were reports of concerns among his crew, but Bieber insisted, and he stuck to his original schedule. Another famous face, pop star Katy Perry. She toured there recently. She tweeted to say the show must go on despite deadly earthquake aftershocks. Others have also included some world leaders, such as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She was there since the earthquake, and she held talks with the Japanese foreign minister back in April. And another world leader that we see there is French President Nicolas Sarkozy. He was the first foreign leader to visit Japan after March the 11th. We want to take a look now at what is trending on social media. At number 3, Google's guitar. The search engine is celebrating Les Paul, a pioneer of the electric guitar, with today's doodle. Pretty cool. It would have been Paul's 96th birthday. To celebrate, users can actually create and record music with the virtual guitar on Google's homepage. At number 2, bomb-proof toilets. Yep, bomb-proof toilets. Officials in Russia say they're introducing virtually indestructible public toilets in the capital. Now, they say they are installing these bomb-proof toilets because of the threat of terrorism. Moscow, of course, as you know, has seen a spate of deadly bomb attacks in recent years. And at number 1, the Country Music Television Awards, country pop singer Taylor Swift won Video of the Year at last night's ceremony. But one of the bigger talking points is the Thelma and Louise remake she did for the show, along with fellow country star Shania Twain. A few people online are suggesting they actually do a remake of the classic movie. Just a reminder now of our top stories before we go. As fighting continues in Libya, Western powers and Arab nations are meeting to map out a possible future for the country. The team here on World One. Do stay with CNN for the very latest on the day's top stories. From me and the team, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching.